So, Sanket, welcome and congratulations to you, your colleagues at Intuit. 10 years of being a great place to work. So, you are now one of the few great place to work laureates to be recognized. So,
Thank you.
and of course, needless to say, not only have you been a great place to work, you have been one of the best workplaces for last so many years. And what we'd like to know a little bit from you, Sanket, is that you have worked with organizations like Oracle, Make My Trip, and many others. Help us understand the business model of Intuit in India a little bit more, and then we'll talk about your great place to work journey.
Of course. So Intuit India is a subsidiary organization of Intuit Global, where a large amount of product development happens for Intuit's global products. As you know, the majority of the market for Intuit is the United States, but it's expanding quite rapidly internationally. And in India, the product that exists is a product called QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online is an accounting product, and that's been introduced in India and is getting amazing traction over here. Uh, Fundamentally, the majority of the organization in Intuit India is devoted to product development for global products.
You know, the amazing thing about Intuit is that you've got some fantastic products. And unlike many other companies, they really don't start with the products, they start with their people. I remember first time I went and the founders had a philosophy, and if I recall, they called it air, water, and food. They said employees are like oxygen. If you don't get it, you die. Customers are like water. You can only survive for so much, so long if you don't have customers. And shareholders is like food. That you can probably stretch a little bit longer. When you came in and you have seen so many other organizations, you have been a veteran in technology, what struck you as different about Intuit? And what do you think are the key reasons why it has been able to sustain its great place to work journey for 10 years or more? And I must tell you, 3,500 plus organizations have attempted it. This year, there are only 12 cumulatively who have actually been able to sustain the great place to work journey for 10 years or more. So what would be your observations?
So, when I joined, I was very skeptical, Prasenjit. I did a lot of research before joining. I asked a lot of people who were ex-Intuit to see if I could dig up some dirt, because it's important to get a decent understanding. But honestly, nobody ever said anything bad about Intuit. And then upon joining, I truly realized why. First of all, the mission. It's such an amazing mission for a company to power prosperity around the world. Now, most companies have missions, but very few companies have all the employees have a deep empathy and deep understanding of what the mission is. And the whole journey started off with what you said, the pointing out of the true north and the pointing out of the values that we live by. Now, there are words on paper that can define, your mission and your values, and then there's behavior. So one thing I'll just point out. So shortly after I joined, I went to the US. And at that time, our CEO was Brad Smith, who's now the chairman of the board. And I had my meeting set up with him. So I went to his office, and in typical corporate style, I had my laptop open, ready to present to the CEO. And he comes in, and I'm like, okay, well, Brad, let's get started. So he says, wait, Sanket, give me a hug. And that was the beginning of my journey at Intuit. He asked about my daughter's graduation. He has asked about my father's passing. So that human touch is what really makes or breaks, in my opinion, a company. And, Prasenjit, you must have heard that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So you can have the best of the minds trying to decide what a product is going to do and where and how. But unless you have a culture of delivery and a culture of true respect for the customer, it's going to be a very, very difficult proposition. Now, what we have done at Intuit, so let's talk about Intuit India specifically. When we started off here about 15 years ago, we were an unknown brand here. The product didn't really exist here. Nobody really knew what Intuit was. Unlike, of course, in the US, where we're a household name, everybody knows TurboTax and QuickBooks. So we needed to hire some fantastic people and figure out how best to attract that talent. And with that, what we thought is the most precious thing we have is our culture, a culture that respects people, a culture that's honest, and a culture that's fun loving. Very, very important for us. So we decided that we would like to embrace it and have employees actually experience what that culture is about and what it allows you to do. And the fundamental thing that it allows you to bring your whole selves to work to do the best work of your life. What else would a professional want to do? And now, then we had a three-phased kind of approach to it, right? So first of all, get employees immersed in the culture, make them understand the culture, be engaged, and help power the culture that's around them. Post that, once that understanding happens, then employees become actual ambassadors of the culture. So when new people come in, they talk about it, they talk to each other, they talk with peers in the industry. And finally came what I think is the master stroke. And the master stroke is letting go. By letting go, the best people to affect a culture change, to affect a movement, are the grassroots, right? So have the employees actually take the lead, and we be servant leaders. We be there to help the employees achieve what they would like to do, but give them the empowerment to be able to think great things and actually execute on them. And that's how our entire journey was for the Great Places to Work. At one point in time, employees decided, we love where we work. Why aren't we number one? So then the question was, well, what should we do about it? So we challenged the employees, hey, why don't you take this on and see what we can do? They did. And a year later after that, Prasenjit, as you know very well, we became number one. And post that, there's also an ISB case study that's been done about their entire journey. That's in the Harvard Business Review. But fundamentally, it is about letting go. It's about trusting and respecting what each individual in the company can bring to the table. In fact, in one interview a long time back, Brad had said that we have each and every employee as a leader of the company. And that's how we run it, right? So it's important for employees to feel that it's their company and to be able to affect great things in the company.
As a leadership team, do you see a link between the culture that you have created and the business results that you get? Because one can argue that the job of the team in India is to produce great products. And in any case, if you're producing great products out of India, it's a win-win because the salaries and compensation are not as high as it is in dollar terms. So how would you, as a leader, see Great Place to Work culture as something that makes an impact on business results?
Yeah. So first of all, Prasenjit, our company never looks at the cost savings of a particular country. In fact, a headcount in the US can be shifted to India at a one-to-one. So the cost savings are not what are considered when we're looking at what work is done where. It's actually talent. So now when you take a look at talent, being a great place to work is an amazing asset, right? Because you would like to attract amazing talent. So again, this is the upward spiral I was talking about, that we have a very strong culture where people are happy, the people become ambassadors, people create great programs, we become a great place to work. That great place to work, branding goes around the industry, and more people are interested in actually coming and working for us. And what that results in, we're able to do amazing things. So now Intuit India is a true peer of the global organization. It's essentially a microcosm of headquarters. Almost every significant product is worked upon here. There are several products that are completely done out of here from a product development standpoint, end to end. So that shows you the maturity of the actual center that we have here vis-a-vis the industry. It can only be achieved when you have amazing talent, and that talent is trusted And the only way trust is achieved is by producing great results. So yes, the focus on culture and the focus on being a great place to work has been an amazing asset for us, because now people know what it means to work at Intuit and what amazing things you can do.
So my last question to you is, on the last 55 days, I actually lost count since when we have been sitting at home. And of course, some parts like Bangalore have opened up to some extent, but probably you haven't still called your employees to come to office yet. What's been your learning as a leader? What would be some of the things that you have learned in the last 55 days, which your stint in Cornell or some of the great educational institutes that you've been to probably didn't prepare you? And what is the new normal in future? What do you see as the future of great workplaces? Is it fundamentally some things will not change, but will some things also change?
On a personal note, Prasenjit, I am a bit of a workaholic, and being at home, I think the problem is exacerbated. And so I've had to figure out ways to basically extract myself from the work situation and to have some downtime so that I'm productive. And I've done something simple, like I've taken a corner, as you see, we are in a bedroom. This is my son's bedroom. My son is at Cornell. Uh, and so we have a corner here where I've set up my office. I come here to do work. When I'm not working, I'm not here. So work is here and not work is somewhere else. And that's allowed me to create the separation even within my house, and which allows me to have my downtime. And downtime is really important. What we have found is everybody is working much, much harder, because again, everybody wants to deliver, everybody wants to do the best work of their lives. And when the best work of their lives is done within 10 to 15 feet of your bedroom, then people are more likely to get down and say, let me just put my nose to the grindstone and yet have some other deliverable be complete. So all of that is there, but it takes its toll. So I think not just our company, around the industry, people are trying to figure out how best to have that kind of a separation between work and personal life, even though you're working from home. And it's happening. People are coming up with those things. We're also encouraging a lot of employees that we are speaking with on a one-to-one basis, that even in town halls, to regularly take time off, even though you are at home and people feel that, what am I going to do? There's a lockdown, but still taking time off, having time to yourself, read a book, meditate, exercise, etc., have a regimen that's going to allow you to have a much better experience than just nose to the grindstone. For me, it's been an amazing journey of learning that. So I now have a very set regimen that I follow, and I'm very, very happy. And I'll give an example. Amongst the leadership team, we have a WhatsApp group which talks about personal fitness. So every day somebody posts about what they have done, and other people congratulate them, and then they talk about that. And all of that has led to actually a much fitter leadership team, which is a fantastic result in times like this where we're confined to our homes. So it's just been an amazing experience from that standpoint. Now, going forward, one of the things that we have realized, as you know, is that productivity can be amazing even though people are working from home. So what does the future hold for us? We're trying to study that and figure out what it means. But my thought is that future is going to be hybrid. There's going to be a combination of people working from home and people working from the workplace. How exactly that's going to shape out is something that I think will emerge over time. And it also depends on the various locations we're at. India might be very different from the United States. Again, the demographics are different, etc. So we will have to see how that works out. But complete work from home is something that was unimaginable just perhaps even 7, 8 months ago. And look where we're at today. So I think the sky's the limit once you put your mind to it. So whatever the future is, I think it's going to be actually wonderful.
Thank you, Sanket, so much. It's been amazing. I planned for 20 minutes and I didn't realize how time flew, and we took double of that.